So the topic we're looking at is valuing oneself with the side, the sort of behaviour in there of people pleasing, right?
Yes.
And you've mentioned that you've got clients who struggle with this piece.
Oh yeah. It's one of the biggest things that I work with. I tend to work with women who have the people pleasing pattern, and we look at kind of how that shows up in their life or lives, and often they don't realize that they wouldn't identify as a people pleaser. But underneath the surface, that is what is happening, and they kind of blame outside circumstances, but the reality is they're not valuing themselves, they're not speaking up for themselves, they're not setting boundaries, they're not doing those things. So yeah, people pleasing, value, they go together.
So let's say we start with people pleasing. Most obvious thing to start with is, so let's just say client is people pleasing a person in their lives. Okay. First thing that pops up is they're terrified to lose them.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrified to lose them.
Yeah.
Which means that they're already psychologically leaning on them.
Yeah.
And they haven't connected in with the fact that that person that they're people pleasing has something that they need or want.
Yeah.
Right, which means that they don't know what their needs or wants are.
Yeah.
Right, which ultimately speaks to, and this is the centerpiece on the dashboard, so to speak. They don't know what their personal foundations are.
No.
Right. So that particular, like, if you don't know what your personal foundations are, you're actually not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. You haven't, like, if we put it in the car metaphor, you haven't identified that you've got a wheel or wheels on the car. You haven't identified that you've got your own engine, that you've got your own vehicle at all. So they're moving around, and people please to go, okay, so number one, they don't know who they are. Number two, they don't know what their basic needs are.
Yeah, they don't know what they want.
Correct. All right. So directional is just all over the place because they don't know where they're headed. Right. Not totally clear on purpose. So it's all, there's so much piece, there's so many pieces, so much data in this from that person just actually doesn't know who they are. How can they value themselves?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So the first piece to look at is, do they have a sense of self-belief? Where do they land when it comes to trusting? Right. Second piece is, if they don't know what their needs are, they have to be getting their needs from other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a total web that they're stuck in there. Right. So then someone will say, oh, I'm stuck. No shit. Because how can you move when you're relying on a bunch of people architecture to look after your needs? You're then at the whim of all those people.
Yeah. You live at the mercy of other people's demands and expectations. You're externally resourced rather than internally resourced.
Agree.
Yeah.
So people-pleasing behaviour actually has to be there.
Yeah.
It's an asset in that case.
Yeah, it's very clever. It's very manipulative, but it's very clever.
Ultimately, to support the external resources staying there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So if we look at what's missing, to a degree, self-belief's missing. To a degree, basic foundations of what are my own personal needs, what are must-haves for my life to continue foundationally. That's all missing. You would even say that the relationships that they have attracted, they all actually have to fall away once the internal world's built in.
Yeah.
Right. So there has to be an acceptance of the fact that every single person that's been attracted to that person's business ultimately will go.
Yeah.
Because the only reason why that person's attracted to those clients is because they're all looking after each other's needs.
Yeah.
All right. So you haven't really got clients then, have you?
No.
They're not really clients now, are they?
This is the thing, right? This is the thing that I see with some of my clients, is that they end up playing out the same childhood pattern of over functioning, rescuing, over delivering, and then feeling like they don't have any time, any energy, any resilience, or any money, because all their time and energy is going out on their clients. There's no boundaries. And they're going to attract clients that take from them. And they're going to attract clients that complain that they're not getting enough. They're going to attract entitled clients. It's just kind of this, strange paradox.
So the reality is that will continue. And the person, again, well, obviously we're not using names, but the person that you're talking about, obviously I don't know who this is, but you look at it and you think that they may be in a position where they experience themselves growing the business, and then they get to a point where they're stuck. It literally cannot progress forward until they look at their own reality. It literally cannot grow in the healthy, sustainable way. Sustainable and consistent is the two pieces that pop up that they actually can't reach.
But they think it's a time problem, and it's not a time problem. And I would say this is true of a lot of people. A lot of people look at their physical reality and they say there's not enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough resources, but they are actually never the problem.
And the one thing that I look at it and I think that they can continue that way until burnout, right? Trying to solve and figure it out, or it will get to a place where they get, like, you have enough data to look at it and say, maybe it's me.
Yeah.
Right? That person actually sits back for a minute and thinks, hang on, maybe it's me. And then that will lead down a whole different path to build in the internal. I think the old saying goes that when you work on building and giving to yourself internal, you don't need as much external. Right? I'd rather build my internal so I didn't need as much external.
Yeah.
Right? So foundationally, we're looking at they need to identify their self-belief. They need to realize what their must-haves are of themselves. And so build in that foundation, the basic needs foundation. Once that's in, the creativity and the purpose piece kicks in anyway. Much clearer about their own journey, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So people pleasing can alleviate because they're not psychologically leaning on another human anymore. Right? That person who they're people pleasing on will actually go off and find, if they don't work themselves, they will actually go off and find someone else to continue that same people pleasing behavior because that's what they're used to. Right?
Yeah.
If that whole client base is built on people pleasing and this person does what they need to do to clean up the people pleasing, that entire client base will go.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to have to go through an overhaul of that client base.
Yeah.
Give up the client base, clean up oneself, right? Solidify self to attract all the new people.
Yeah.
But you've got to go through that first.
You've got to do the internal work first. You've always got to do the internal work first.
Right. So it's a big piece when you look at the fact that if that's their primary income of their business, are they willing to give that up to realize that their own internal world needs to be built first to then attract new people?
It's a good question.
And there you go.
Yeah.
So that then leads to, yes, I now value myself. I know how to value myself. I know what I need for the valuing of self to be sustainable and continue. And then people feel that shift and that energy, and then you're emanating that sense.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Value yourself and the world can't help but feel the same.
Exactly. The outside is a reflection of the inside, right? It's just a mirror.
Absolutely.
It's a mirror.
Good topic.
Yeah. I could talk about this topic for hours.
We could do that too. On for this one, and I'll see you on the next one.
All right. Cheers, James.